Hi, my name is Sarah Bentley Pearson, and I am excited to share my podcast, which features wonderful talent that I've been so lucky to discover in the Southeast. This was born out of a list that I created in 2015 called Sarah's List. And through my work in real estate, which I've been doing since 2005, and styling work, and just my personal life and my personal interests, I've been able to meet so many wonderful people, and I'm excited to share them with you. Jeremy, welcome. Thank
Hi,
you for coming.
thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. So, I first was introduced to your work by a client of ours mutually.
hmm
We are going to list their house. And I was really impressed with the detail. And ironically, I think this is hilarious that when I walked in, I said, I feel like I'm in a really nice hotel. Then now looking over your bio, that makes complete sense because you've worked on so many hotels. So fantastic. I want to hear
Yes.
about that because I've interviewed a lot of interior designers, but I don't think I've spoken to one who has worked on scale from, big building start to finish. That's a lot of work.
It is.
Yeah. So how
um,
did you get into this work?
well, I went to school for interior design at Virginia Tech.
Mm.
I graduated with a degree in 2000, and I had a number of job offers, and one of them was Hirschbedner here in Atlanta. So that was they're the number one luxury hotel design firm in the world, and so I moved here to start my career. And the first project they put me on was Mandarin Oriental, New York.
That's big.
That was at the time, that was the most expensive building in human history. So
Mm-hmm.
that's 24 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny to think of it. It was $1.2 billion for that building. We paid more for our stadium here now. So it's very interesting to me. But yeah, they put us on. I was assigned to that. And I helped out a little bit with Mandarin Miami then. And Rock in Mauritius, and a few others.
So, when I walked into this house and I said, "Wow, I feel like I'm in a hotel." What is the concept of designing for a hotel versus obviously you translated that feeling into residential, but what is it about decorating for a hotel that's different?
Um, it's not. It's not about. Every designer says it's not about us. It's about our interpretation of our client's style. Um, in a hotel, there's a lot of research that happens. We go into insane historical research for cultural reference or influence, because you don't want every hotel in Asia to feel like every hotel in Florida. Um, it has to feel like you've gone on a trip somewhere. You need to. It can still be the same style, but it has to have some relevance or something. So that's kind of how
That's more
we.
about the region versus the
Yes,
actual client.
yes. So I mean, that translates really well though into residential too, into researching your client as well. Which so it's not that different. I just kind of maybe view things a little bit differently. I really pay attention to things like a line of sight. I hate having a hallway with a door at the end of it. I want a piece of art there. Um, I want you to look at things that I want you to look at. So I don't want to, if I've got a stunning view, I want you to be looking at that all the time. I want, if we've got a huge glass wall in a condo, that's the view. I want the TV on that wall so that you're always facing that feature. You're not facing a piece of sheetrock on the opposite side.
Mm.
Um, you know what I mean? That
So, in other words, if you were working on a house that had a beautiful view, but you were changing the original structure and you were looking at a wall when there was a great view, you would take down that wall and put a beautiful window there,
I
or
mean, yeah, or I would just focus all of the seating towards the view. I mean,
mhm.
no matter what, so that your focal point is, you're controlling your focal point. I
Mm.
don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it
So
makes perfect sense. And, I have a secret desire for interior design, but only for myself. But, I would think it would be really hard to to make somebody else happy in that department, but I love interior design. So that's like a nice little trick you're saying about, you know,
It's just a matter of what when you walk into a space, what everything should be done, in my opinion. You want it to feel like it's a complete space. It needs to flow. Everything needs to tie together. There has to be some sort of story, some sort of design language that translates. It doesn't mean every room has to look the same. It just means it has to flow, and you have to. Um,
what's cohesive. But
yes,
I mean, most really good designers are thinking of a cohesive look too. But there was something about yours that felt,
the
um,
grandeur of it.
yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, part of that was being able to control the situation on that. I mean, it's a one-story ranch house that's got 20-foot ceilings. The ceilings in the kitchen are 16 feet.
Yes.
So we get to play with that space. You have to fill that space up, but not clutter it.
Yeah, and
So
I think that,
you have to think big
yeah, I
when you're
think
thinking
that
about volume.
it just felt a lot of houses that we list, you know, aren't done by decorators. And, I always tell people that yes, an interior designer that can seem expensive, but it always sells the house. It always makes you more money. And I always tell my clients that put your money into your interiors because you can take that with you, but it sells the dream. And I
That's
definitely
true.
felt that the house, which is on Lake Spivey, there's not one detail that was not thought of, like even to the remote screens that go all the way up on the porch. It's just very curated. It's Most people wouldn't even think of all those details. So obviously, you helped them with that. Marcy, who's the client, also mentioned that she had been in your space. Your home was purchased by somebody, that's how she got to know you,
Yes.
and that she loved the ceiling detail.
Mhm.
Is that something that's thought about in hotels a lot?
I mean, yes, I think so because you've got a large volume of space. You can't just have a if you left a white box in a luxury hotel. I mean, think of all the moldings and all the popped up ceilings and all the details right over here at the St. Regis.
Mm,
That was a Hirschbrenner project.
mm.
So that's what they do, whether it's a traditional, transitional, or contemporary project. That's the kind of training that I come from. That's my background right at the start of my career. So are still a big thing for me, even in
I
residential.
have never really thought a lot about ceilings until now I've seen it, and I'm like, oh,
Their dining room ceiling is my favorite
yeah, it's
for
beautiful.
Marcy.
So tell me about, where are you from?
I'm from Virginia.
Oh, okay. I'm from Chevy Chase, Maryland.
I
So
know
we're,
you're a DC.
yeah, I'm a DC person.
Yes.
Uh, who who had the taste? Who inspired you? Why did you go into interior design?
um, So my stepfather was actually taking classes in engineering to finish his degree,
Mhm.
and I went through the usual. I want to be an astronaut, a fireman, a police officer, and then I was 7 years old and I asked for drafting equipment, and then my mother couldn't take me through a grocery store checkout line because instead of chocolate bars, I was grabbing the house plan books from Southern Living or luxury dream homes and saying,
Really?
"Can I buy this? Can I have this?"
And did you
And
live in a pretty house, or was that
no.
something? No?
No, not at all.
But you saw that and it inspired
Oh,
you.
it just became an obsession, so it that translated 7 years old, it started, and,
That was like me with Teen Vogue and all that kind of stuff at that
it was
age.
Architectural Digest and things too,
Yeah.
because I remember looking through, 1992 Architectural Digest and seeing a Peter Molly designed bed from Lynn Rizet, with Calvin Klein mauve sheeting. That was beautiful. It was a perfect shot, and I always wanted that bed, and then I got that bed, and now I have dents in my leg because that platform is painful. But, uh, it is what it is. It's one of those things I remember, it just stands out.
Yeah, I always find it's interesting how people end up in certain careers and what inspires them. And did you go into people's homes in Virginia that looked like the magazines that you were so it's kind of like Andre from Vogue, like
Um,
how his childhood. Do you remember?
yeah, I mean, it was sort of So it started out with planning. And then seventh grade, my algebra teacher said, you have to design your dream home and calculate the square footage. So everyone kind of did their home. They did a split level, or they did a ranch, or they did, a colonial four square type of home or something like that. And mine was 9 stories and 178,000 square feet. And my teacher said, I don't know how to grade this. So A, and my mother said, "Why don't you design things that are realistic that people will build? Because who needs a 91 bedroom house?" My first job out of college was luxury hotels. And so my mother came back and said, "I never should have questioned what you were doing. I should have just said, go for it,
Hmm.
because it wouldn't have changed a thing." So,
Well, too bad Emily Post isn't alive and couldn't have been a client. But,
yes.